Welcome to the ProActive podcast, brought to you by Me Media.
G'day world, Chris Oaken coming to you from Me Media Studio here at Burleigh Heads for episode 131 of the ProActive podcast. And I have with me Kat and Duncan from E3 Physio, new clients to Me Media as well. So in case you didn't know, we don't regularly have our clients on the show. Everybody that's been on the show before you has been just a member of the public, an awesome human being. But now we have awesome human beings that are also clients. One of the reasons why we have E3 Physio on today is because they are knee, foot and ankle specialists. And funnily enough, I've decided to get them on the show so I can get a free consultation on how to manage my getting back into running. And it's been a long time since I've been a runner, been an athlete that's run around. I generally do other sort of training. And I wanted to talk to you guys about getting back into running. Welcome to the show. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thanks for having us.
So, a non-athlete for some years, was a soccer player, basically had to stop playing soccer due to ankle injuries repeated over, I think, almost a decade. So now, a long time after that, multiple decades after that, almost, I'm trying to get back into running. And each time I start off, it hurts. I have ankle issues. I was saying to you before we started that every time I go to run across, even just run across the road at the set of lights, it's like my ankle seize up and all sorts of stuff. So firstly, what should I be doing? Where should I be starting when I'm that person that wants to get back into running and hasn't done it for a while?
All right. Well, I might start off, Chris. I think first of all, you need to think about why you want to run again and what you want to do. So if you keep the end in mind first, or think about the end in mind, what do you want to do? Do you want to be doing a 10K? Do you want to be running with your kids at soccer? Because they're different types of running, and then reverse engineer. So how long do you want to do it in 6 months' time? And then just so you can build up slowly rather than just going out and doing a 10K, slowly build up half a K a week over the next 6 months, for example. The math doesn't add up, but you get the point.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
And in terms of like warming up, I'm starting from a cold start. Oh, well, I would say I would be pretty warm. I've just walked maybe 200 meters. Is that wrong? Am I not warm?
No. I mean, the thing is to start gently and go from there. And you actually, if you're not already doing a walking program, that would be where you'd start most probably, with a walking program and with some strengthening exercises, because it sounds like your ankles are a little bit dodgy and might need a little bit of help.
Okay.
Yep.
So with that strengthening exercises, I'm specifically focused on my ankles, or is that like...
Well, no, it's actually really important that you work the whole chain from your ankle, knee, hip and back. And that gets back to the old core exercises that everyone talks about. And to be honest, I actually think you need to strengthen your arms too, because some of your arm muscles are very important for your core strength. And your core strength gives you a really nice stable base for your legs to work from.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
So it's a bit of everything, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine. I'm cool with that. So, I'm trying to get back into running, and I'm not sure my shoes are cutting it, to be perfectly honest. I do have orthotics that
Right.
I'm supposed to wear, but they don't fit well into my running shoes, or what shoes I do have to run in. So, should I actually be very, considering, basically looking at some specific shoes for me?
You know what? Shoe wear is a bit of a contentious issue. There's schools of thought all the way from the barefoot runners up to super motion control shoes. Personally, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of that, but you do definitely need different shoes for different people. So you need to look at your foot, and there are a few places around where you can go and they can run you on a treadmill or walk you on a treadmill and give you some advice. But it's better to get someone to look at you than just going and picking a pair of shoes yourself.
Okay. Duncan, I'll switch to you to mix it up a bit. So rise or flat, so no rise shoes. What's your opinion on those?
Look, most shoes, it's very individual. So you'd get checked out, but a lot of people now are just going more neutral shoes, away from the very heavy supination or pronation shoes, and then letting their feet work naturally within the shoe. So the shoe becomes more a cushioner than a correct your foot position. And that's probably where Catherine's saying, then your foot position, knee, hip, core stability is what you work on, rather than what your feet are doing, impacting the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, that's important that you don't let the shoe do all the work. You've got to do some of the work yourself.
Yeah, so, one of those ones with a massive pillow on my heel, that's really good for me, isn't it? Like to actually have that support.
Yeah, the heel strike, yeah. No. That was an old school of thought, was that you wanted to build up that gap between your heel and obviously when you hit the floor. But the more scientific research is coming out now saying that shock is actually not good for your body, and that the more natural way of hitting the floor is with your midfoot. So you want to encourage that. So a little bit lighter on your feet and a little bit higher through your body when you run.
So does that mean we're actually midfoot, it's flat, or are you saying we're landing more ball?
Somewhere you don't want to land flat, but it is more on the front of your foot, because as you run, you should be almost kind of gliding across the ground. You know those people you can see. They look beautiful, don't they? Yes, I'm not one of those.
Jealous of those people. Yeah, they're aliens.
Yeah. But that is the theory, is that you gently push your foot through and you roll through from the sort of middle of your foot to the ball of your foot, and then project yourself forward from there.
Okay. And so what we were saying there is, that midfoot strike, when I'm starting out, I've created this plan and I want to take off down the street, and should I slow it up a bit and maybe focus on where I'm striking and maybe even to a shuffle? It feels rather pathetic. From my point of view, being an ex-athlete, it's come on, mate, you're just shuffling down the street.
You can do better.
But is a shuffle a pretty safe place to start?
I think it's totally fine. And as Kat was saying before, I think you start with a walk, jog, walk, shuffle. It doesn't matter. It's just getting you back into that motion of running.
Yeah. That's a good point. So maybe even starting out a little bit lighter on myself. Hey, I'm going to go for a jog to the end of the street, which my street happens to be 1 kilometre long, so it's perfect for measuring how many Ks I can do. And then walk 100, shuffle 100.
Yeah, there's one really nice app that I like called Couch to 5K, and it actually just talks you through that process of starting with walk for a certain amount, run for a bit, walk for a bit, run for a bit, and you just basically then gradually swap it over, the walking bits for running bits. And that's a nice way of doing it. If you're worried about doing it yourself and how much you should be running versus walking, use an app.
Okay, good.
And that fits back in with the physiology of our body getting used to things slowly, so you're not overloading and getting injury out of nowhere.
Yeah, okay.
So, and we know this innately from people post-injured. If you broke your leg and you were still a soccer player, you'd build back up slowly. Yeah. You wouldn't go straight back into a soccer match. But we forget it when we get a bit older and want to return to how we were when we were 19.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
We forget there's been some years in between.
Absolutely. So I'm getting back into it. I'm jogging along the street, and I've chosen this street because it's nice and flat. Mm-hmm. Or is it good for me to include hills from the get-go? Does that matter? Should I be avoiding hills?
Well, I think, again, it goes back to why you're doing this. Are you going to go do trail runs? In which case, you need to get into hills pretty early. Are you going to do a flat marathon? What are you aiming to do? Or you're just running because you enjoy it and so you want to go do some pretty paths. Yeah. I don't think there's any harm in doing hills early on, but as long as you do them slowly and gently and work up the amount and the speed from a very slow, gentle run up from there.
Yeah, trail running's where I want to go with it. So that's my plan. Now I'm down the beach. This is actually, where it's kind of stemmed from. I'm doing my bronze at the moment, and so that's where, it's all it's been is a run, swim, run. So, it's 200 metre run, swim 200 and 200 metre run. But my ankles are not liking this. And I'm wondering, is it, like, what am I doing wrong here? Is it, am I starting on that too hard sand? I'm breaking into sprint. I'm not warming up. I don't have a plan. I'm on my toes. Also, it's on an incline. Yep. So this foot's going, hang on a minute. Should I even be there doing this? Should I be doing this?
It's a little bit of an all of the above, that one.
Yeah.
It sounds like you need to work on your ankles first.
Yeah. So
sand running is really hard.
Yeah. Because
the surface underneath your foot shifts. Obviously, you put your weight on it, and suddenly sand that was there is now over here. So it is actually really tough. And unfortunately, a lot of calf injuries come from sand running when you haven't done it before. So A, working up to it gradually. B, probably doing balance work on your calf, strength and balance work.
How do you do that?
Loads of different ways. One is just standing on one leg. You could start by just standing on one leg while you clean your teeth.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yep, easy.
Yep.
And then progress from there. You can get little wobble cushions, foam discs, Bosus, lots of different pieces of equipment that you stand on. And obviously then the aim of the game is just not to fall off. And you gradually work on different exercises that then strengthen your ankle.
How long am I sort of expected to do that for before I'm feeling like I'm getting somewhere with it?
From a control point of view, it should only take a couple of weeks to feel that you're getting improvement. Yeah. And then from a strength point of view, you're looking at 2 to 3 months. So it's not long in the grand scheme of things. So it's worth taking that time and getting it right before you break out into all these long training runs.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm balancing, I'm running, and I'm feeling, I'm getting somewhere. What kind of pain, or how extreme, how do I explain this? I feel a little bit of pain. Should I just harden up and keep going? Or do I stretch, put ice on it, do I come and see you guys? Like, when do I really need to, I guess, engage you, to help me with my pain issues?
I guess the question is it a little niggle? And is that niggle getting worse and worse, in which case you need to do something about it. If you have a sudden, very strong pain that might indicate that you've, pulled something, then yes, you need to get that looked at. If it's just a little niggle, you go home, you put your feet up, next day it's gone, that's fine. Okay. And the other thing is where the pain is. So if it's a sore muscle, again, give it a rest, give it a break, and then keep going, because that's generally okay. But some pains, like a joint pain or a pain that just doesn't feel quite right, then that's probably worth getting checked out.
So shin splints, I guess, pretty common. So that pain in the front of the shin. Yep. And my calves, man, they're hard as rocks on every day, let alone introducing running.
Yeah.
So should I introduce maybe some massage there? Should I have super loose calves all the time, or is it okay to have rock hard calves?
You'll probably never have super loose calves, but you probably need to be doing regular stretches so they're looser to adapt for your running.
Okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to have a massage on a regular basis as well. Again, obviously, it depends on how...
That hurts too, though,
much
Kat.
money you want to throw into
Calves
it. Depends if they put their elbow in.
Yeah.
But, if you're a tight person, you're a tight person. And that's just how you're going to be. It's good for your sprinting. You'll have good speed.
I've always been a sprinter.
Yeah.
See, this is the challenge.
Yeah.
This is the challenge, trying to get some distance in. Okay, very good. Getting back to shoes and orthotics. All right, so this is should I have my orthotics in my running shoes?
Again, there's probably debate around this. My gut feeling, although I'm not sure about the evidence, Kat will be able to correct you, is there's enough. The shoes are so well designed nowadays, you shouldn't have to have orthotics. Mm-hmm. If they assess you properly and give you the right shoes, you shouldn't need orthotics in running shoes. Mm-hmm. But Kat might have a different view.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the basic sort of feel at the moment, is that you shouldn't need a lot of extra stuff. If you are going to wear orthotics in your running shoes, you have to make sure you take the current inner sole out and swap it in. But a lot of the thing at the moment is just getting the right shoes for you.
Yep.
And the trend now is to go for those neutral shoes. And then if you need something else, then put your orthotic in.
Yeah.
But not going for a control shoe with an orthotic, because that's overdoing it.
Yeah. I've heard certain brands can just be, basically fashion brands, and some are far more suited to running. So I don't really want to name names. But one of the features that I found or was told was that if the shoe can basically twist like that, then it's not a very stable shoe. Is that... Would you agree?
That is true, but it depends on what kind of shoe you want. And if you
Yeah.
want that extra stability versus more mobility, if that suits your foot. For example, also trail shoes. Trail shoes are much stiffer, and that's because you want that support and you want to just take some shock and some loading off the foot on the trails. So again, the shoe needs to be right for the person and right for what you're going to do in it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then certain brands might be thinner than other brands. Some people have wider feet, so they lean towards the more Brooks or that offer that, or New Balance, whereas other people have narrow feet, so people go into things like Nike, and we're just seen more as trendy brands now, but they were your traditional running shoes, or revolutionised running shoes with the Nike Pegasus.
Yeah.
So
Phil Knight's book lying
yeah,
around here.
Shoe Dog.
It's
Great
a great book.
Sensational. Great, guys. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good. I've got my running going, and I'm managing my pain. You kind of said if it goes away, then after maybe a day or two or
yeah,
three.
a day or two is fine, and as long as it's a kind of pain that doesn't concern you. Aches and things are actually really normal when you start running again after a long while.
Yep.
Which you'd probably remember from your football days. That normal muscle soreness.
Yeah. No, crutches were a pretty good sign that, I wasn't going to be running the next day. Yeah.
Your shin facing backwards.
Yeah.
Any other tips? What am I missing here? Is there something that I might be missing?
Again, sometimes it's the nature of the pain. So sharp pains, like something stabbing you when you're running, that's not very good. You need to get those looked at. But those achy pains or those sore kind of pains, the type of, when you've overdone things is a very different pain to when you've really injured yourself. So listen to your body is probably the best thing. And again, with your running, when you're going back, is having some rest weeks or quieter days where you're not actually just trying to increase, because that's when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the running programs now are about 3 weeks. They build up the intensity, then have a really low week, and then start again.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can deal with that.
Yeah.
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 The quiet weeks, yeah.
Oh, no, I think that's true. There was always this, well, not always, but when I went plant-based, it was, hey, just try it for 3 days.
Yep.
And if you do it for 3 days, then try 3 weeks. And that was quite an easy thing to focus on versus, this is a 3-month thing.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing with running, because getting back into it, you're probably looking at 3 months before you're starting to feel comfortable.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you need these little mini breaks and
Yeah.
rewards. So rewards are important as well.
Yeah, chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake.
Yeah. I like chocolate
More
cake.
shoes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like chocolate cake, but I'm only allowed to eat it when I've done those runs, see?
Yeah, that's it. And not to be too hard on yourself if you miss a run here or there.
Yeah.
That's normal, that happens.
And then back to what Kat said also earlier is listen to your body. So if you start a run and you feel you've got a twinge or a niggle, maybe just back right off, see if you can stretch it out. And if you can't, maybe just leave it till the next day. Because pushing through, especially starting again, you may as well wait a day than put yourself out for a few weeks.
Yeah. Knee pain, we haven't really talked about that. We've focused a lot on my ankles, but knee pain, where does the knee start and finish? Because I don't know, might be a silly question, right? But I've got the shin splint sort of occurring, and then I've got like that, obviously the knee joint. But if I'm feeling it halfway up the thigh, could that be a knee issue, or is that something else?
It can be, but
entirely?
often thigh pain is related to the hip or the back as well. So if you're getting odd pains in the middle of your thigh, if it's not from the muscle and you can't stretch it out or rest it out, then you probably need to get both your hip, your back, and your knee checked. But usually pain in the body, it doesn't go upwards, if that makes sense.
Maybe
it
I
tends
just
to go
need
from
to
the
stop.
up down.
Maybe just start swimming or
Start
something.
all over again. No, but you know what? All the exercises that you'd be doing for your ankle, they're going to help your hip and your knee anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, groovy. I like the Bosu ball idea,
Mm.
the balancing, the standing on one foot when I'm brushing my teeth. It sounds to me that's where I need to start, is actually do some balance to build up my ankle strength.
Yep.
And then back to the foot pain. Where's the most likely place that I might start to feel pain in my foot? Is it what seems the most common?
Well, one of the
foot pain?
most common problems with runners is the plantar fascia.
Okay,
So it's
we all know what that is, right? What's
Just
that?
on-
It's a big band that goes from your heel to the base of your big toe. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Underneath.
straight underneath your
Underneath.
foot. Yeah, underneath your foot.
Yeah.
What most people will say they feel first is heel pain. So your heel hits the floor and ouch. And a lot of them will get morning pain. So they get up in the morning and they're like, ooh, 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 you know, creeping around, because when their foot's on the floor, it's sore. Then it warms up, feels better, go for a run. Same thing the next day. So that needs to be sorted out, because again, if you're not running properly because your foot is sore, that affects everything else. But that's the most common thing we see for sure.
And that's more of a style thing and possibly shoe thing,
It's
is
a
it?
loading thing.
Loading.
Loading.
So you've probably done too much too quickly.
Ah,
Yeah, or you've changed
Right.
your running too quickly. It's something that's changed quicker than your body has adapted.
gotcha.
Or we see people out of the blue mix up their training. So they'll go and do a cycle, a long bike ride, and then go back and do a run the next day
Yeah.
or that afternoon.
Oh, so I want to do a triathlon this weekend. You
Yeah,
reckon I
good
can
for
do
you.
it? Yeah, without any pain.
We'll see you on Friday. We'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, we'll see you before you do the triathlon. You're not going. Rightio. Good one. Anything else, guys? Anything else to add?
Not from me.
No, I would just say, you know, if you want to get back to sport, get out there and do it, but just do it sensibly. Take your time and make sure you do all those other things that help, as you know, the strength work and the stretching as well.
Yeah.
And I think from what we see too, a lot of people get scared of little pains, and I think they've got to realise it's slightly normal and natural.
Yeah.
And if you're not causing more damage, some people just have to accept they have some pain and build back up slowly despite pain. As long as it's been cleared and you know it's nothing
Yeah.
sinister or causing more problems.
That's the kind of thing that I know I'm going to feel pain. I know I'll probably
Yeah.
push through the pain,
Yep.
and then I'd be like, oh, have I done too much here?
And that's where some guidance can be good, just so
Yeah.
you know it's not something worse. It is
Yeah.
just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better to get something checked early and, you know, maybe come in just for one appointment, get it checked, have a review, have a set of exercises, and not let it get to something that keeps you out for weeks.
I'm sure it's not just running that's going to cause all this too. Like,
No, not at all.
there's plenty of stuff, I could be working on a construction site and fell down a hole.
Exactly. Yeah.
Roll my ankle. So for sprains and things like that, are people coming to you for those as well? Sprains?
Yeah, sprains and strains of all different
Yeah.
sorts. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people just fall downstairs or put
Yeah.
their foot in a pothole the wrong way.
Yeah.
So there's a million different reasons. It's not only sporting injuries.
Yeah. And when I'm trying to determine whether or not I've done an ACL or a meniscus tear, are most people, are they going GP, physio, then ortho? Is that sort of how it plays, or does it?
It really varies. Some people will come to physio first and some people will go to GPs first. The tests that you do in the clinic are actually fairly accurate for the knee, not for some other joints, but for the knee they're pretty good. And then, you can advise people then, well, I think you need an MRI. But again, a lot of people will go to their GP first, and sometimes they get an MRI without any physio at all. But there's no reason, even if you have an injury like that, why you can't start some physio, because even if you end up having surgery, you've got a head start on
Yeah.
your rehab.
Yeah.
And then some people we see actively choose not to have surgery, even though it's indicated, because they just don't want to go through that. So
Yeah.
then you really are working on conservative management
Yes.
long term.
Yeah, one of my mates did these both knees really young
Yep.
and just built up his quads to like supersized quads
Yeah.
and calves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is perfect unless
Yeah, so not everything needs surgery.
Yeah.
But always, if you're in doubt, then an opinion from a surgeon is a good idea.
Beautiful.
But you just don't have to have surgery.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. That was a free consultation from E3 Physio. You can find them at e3physio.com.au. They're at Burleigh Heads on the Gold Coast, actually just 2 doors away from our office. Thank you very much. And a beautiful little studio there. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate your time. And also find them on the socials, E3 Physio, on Instagram, Facebook. And what's the running group that you guys are part of?
Oh, that's the Good Times Running Club. They're fantastic. They run from Tallabudgera Creek outside the, I don't know what that surf club is called, but near the...
Tallabudgera Surf Club.
Tallabudgera Surf Club.
Yeah, run from there a couple of times a week, and it's a really lovely, supportive club.
It's a really social club. It's great.
Yeah, groovy. And favourite running shop to get shoes from?
The one at Burleigh.
Yeah, the running shop.
The running
I think it's
shop.
actually called the running shop, isn't
Yeah.
it?
In James Street.
Down at James Street.
Oh,
that one.
legends.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're
And
very
he's-
good. He's got the treadmill set up and loads of kind of personal knowledge and advice.
Great. And I'll give a shout out to Sporty's Warehouse as well, one of our clients. Huge range of shoes there too.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thanks guys.
Thanks,
Thanks, Chris.
Chris.
Cheers.